really doesn't matter. But if you look at the second one there, where we've got the blue and the green, that makes yellow, huh? But the blue and the green. So if we booked an appointment here during the blue time, but it didn't happen until here, then we don't have to notify them because they're going to be open before the appointment happens, so they're going to see it on their dispatch board. So, see, it's still just not that easy. So we figured out when we're going to notify, but we still haven't figured out who we're going to notify. So we introduced two other concepts, a distribution list, oddly enough, being the people that get the notifications in order, and then a distribution list time span, which is the period of time during which those people would receive the notifications. And our first version of software actually had two tabs, one for scheduling, which is the one that you see here, with some minor changes, and then which was setting up the distribution list and the distribution list time spans, and then another tab that was setting up the notification intervals and the quiet times, and they got totally confused. So we merged them all onto one page. And so now, essentially, the distribution list time span and the notification intervals are all in sync with each other. So you're configuring both of them, essentially, at the same time. So now we get to look at the right-hand side of the website. And it shows the technician that's going to be called, and the phone number they're going to be called at, and an email address for sending an email message to them if they choose during the phone call. If that makes any sense. Anything else interesting on here? No. No. For us, it's an email. And we consider it a best effort attempt. We'll send the email. If you get it, great. If you didn't get it, not our fault.
I'm saying shorter emails for a smaller display size, like a small cell phone screen or something like that.
Oh, shorter messages?
Yeah, like Asterisk has the concept of sending a voicemail, send a page to an email address. It isn't the whole thing with the attachment and all the other junk. It's just a short, hey, go here.
Right. No, we don't do that, and the reason that we didn't do that is that we're essentially we're going for the people I'm driving on, and great, you told me what the appointment is, but I can't really write it down now, so can you send it to me? And so we really can't shorten it. Kill myself here too, but that's a good thought. All right, so now let's review kind of sort of what we've built the architecture to be so far. So we have that events database from a couple of screens back, and then we have a magic box that takes the events database, and essentially this is where the notification logic happens to determine whether or not it needs to be notified. Not doing the notification, but it's whether or not it needs to be notified. That goes into the notify database. Then we have this logic which we're about to build that actually takes the notification event from the notify database and squirts it over to the asterisk box and says, dial the phone. So that's where we are now, is in figuring out where to do that in that question mark. So Asterisk-Java, finally. Asterisk-Java, oddly enough, is designed to build Java applications to interact with the Asterisk telephony platform. It supports Asterisk versions through 1.6. I don't know about 1.8 because it's awfully new. There is a new version of Asterisk-Java. I swear these people wait till I get on a plane or something. It's like, so there's a new version of Asterisk-Java that came out whenever the 19th was, a week ago. So we haven't installed that. I assume that this is still all the same. And one of the cool things is it requires no any other external libraries at runtime. If you want to have additional libraries to do unit testing and whatnot, then you can load those up too for when you're doing unit testing, of course. Now we chose Java, Asterisk-Java. You're going to say, well, why didn't you use Splat, Python, right? Why didn't you do this in Python? Well, we chose Asterisk-Java because we've already got a bunch of Java stuff in-house. We can reuse, code reuse, good stuff. We've already got Java expertise in-house, so it was just, for us, another Java application, we hoped. And obviously, as always, your mileage may vary. In order to run Asterisk-Java, you have to have Java version at least 1.6. You have to have a working Asterisk server, and when you do set it up, make sure that the manager API has been enabled. I won't mention any names, but that did cause a little grief for some people who tried running their applications like, why won't this thing connect? So, at any rate, log4j, if you've got it, it'll use it. If it doesn't, otherwise it'll use the built-in java.util logging. And like I said, JUnit and EasyMock if you want to do the unit testing. It is possible, I've been told, it is possible to run Java AGI on the asterisk box. Although everybody I've talked to said, yeah, I don't want to do that. Not a good thing. So the solution that Asterisk-Java suggests, makes perfect sense, is use Asterisk's fast AGI, which allows you to run same AGI, but now you're going to run it over sockets instead of off the local machine. There's 3 interfaces in the fast AGI package in Asterisk-Java. One to do the AGI server, one to do AGI scripting, and one to do what they call a mapping strategy, which strangely enough maps things. The AGI server interface is basically what you would expect a server to do. It just listens for incoming requests, figures out using the mapping strategy which AGI script to run, and then there's a provided default implementation of the AGI server interface, strangely called default AGI server. The mapping strategy basically says it's the logic that determines, we'll get to it in a minute, but it's the logic that determines when this AGI script is called, what's the actual Java class that needs to be instantiated in order to run. So the default one goes out, looks at a file on disk for that mapping, and for us that works fine. And the AGI script interface of the Asterisk-Java package is where all the heavy lifting is happens, and pretty much there's only one method to the AGI script called service, which receives, it's early still, which receives the AGI channel and the AGI request from the Asterisk server, that boatload of parameters and whatnot that AGI sends you, and then it'll send back the AGI commands to the server. So let's walk through just somewhat quickly. Building, I guess what you would be, hello AGI server, something like that, AGI script. This is all there is to the program. Maybe some people think it's a lot. But basically, all this does is answers the channel, plays our infamous TT-Weasels file, and then hangs up the phone. So once you've typed all that in, copied and pasted, however you want to do that, you want to compile it. Make sure you add an extension to the dial plan that's now going to call that AGI script. And this is on that second section there where it says where you add the extension 1300, you're calling 192.168.2.3 hello.agi. That's the AGI script name. Then the next section says when I see hello.agi, you're going to instantiate hello AGI script object. That's the mapping. Then all you do is do java -jar asterisk java.jar. The server starts up. Place phone call. You can see if you've got your logging cranked up on Java, you'll see this, in essence, that says that the call came in. You'll hear weasels on your phone, and it'll hang up. It's really, really cool. Besides fast AGI, there's obviously the other way to interact with Asterisk, which is the Asterisk's Manager API. And the API interface has three concepts to it. You've got actions. I tell you to do something. Responses, you tell me you're not going to do it. And then events, well, you went and did it anyway. Asterisk-Java can capture all of those, allow you to send actions, get the responses, and monitor the events, channel events typically. So one of the critical classes for the manager package is the manager connection, typically obtained with a manager connection factory, which basically does the same type of thing as the AGI server interface, which is establishing a TCP connection to the Asterisk server and reestablish it if the connection fails. That's always a good thing. And this is the mechanism by which the manager actions are sent and the manager responses are received. So let's see. We've talked about Asterisk. We figured out who we're going to call, when we're going to call them. We've kind of decided, pretty much decided on an architecture, which now looks like this. We figured out that, well, we're going to that box that had the question mark in it. Now we're going to call that dispatcher in AGI. It's actually two separate. In our implementation, it's two separate processes running on the same box. One that's firing commands to Asterisk saying do this. The other that's receiving the AGI script request. This wouldn't really be, we've already got a database, we've already got a website, but this wouldn't really be an absolutely fabulous application unless we had a dashboard, because you have to have a dashboard, right? Because nothing makes an application taste better than having a dashboard. It's just like going to Krispy Kreme next to me. Those donuts taste better because you can see them on that sugary conveyor belt, right? Man, it must be early. So this is a mock-up of our dashboard. Well, it's also an explanation of what all the symbols mean. So typically the dashboard doesn't include all that. But this, in our application, essentially allows us the lead agents to watch this and make sure that the notifications are actually going out. If there's any manual intervention that needs to be made, for example, if for whatever reason they decide they want to make the notification themselves, they can go in here, click manual, I did it myself, and then the Asterisk system won't take it. So what's left? Oh, I guess the only thing really that's left is figuring out what we're going to do on the outbound call flow. So using AGI script through Asterisk-Java, we have a script that we want to call up the technician. We figured out who the technician is, right? So we want to call up the technician. We want to say, hey, it's National Call Center. We want to make sure we get an acknowledgement because that's the kind of hand-holding that says, yes, we notified this particular technician. Because the business logic says if you've got multiple people in your distribution list and you call Harlan and Harlan doesn't acknowledge, then you need to call Fred. And if Fred doesn't acknowledge, then you need to call the emergency contact. So it's just kind of a hierarchical list. Whoever gets notified, whoever acknowledges first wins, if you will. And then once they've acknowledged, then they get to hear the appointment information. And through the magic of electricity, Kepstrel and Allison